Welcome to the latest edition of Arrow Insights. I'm Rod Runco, I'm a private client advisor here at Arrow Private Wealth. I'm here today to talk about a subject that affects many people on a daily basis, and that's the issue of scams. I'm here today to talk to Seaton Leggett about the subject and get his input.
Yeah, that's right, Rod. Scams, it's something affecting all of us almost every day, or at least for me it feels like. I'm receiving a text message or a phone call or an email, something that is unexpected, and oftentimes you can see it's a scam up front. But unfortunately for many people, these are things that get through and they're affecting many, many Australians.
I hear what you're saying, Seaton. I receive these, like most people, almost on a daily basis. It's really annoying. So what sort of scams are we talking about?
Well, according to ScamWatch, which is part of the National Anti-Scam Centre, which is part of the ACCC, it's a mouthful, there are a whole range of different scams affecting Australians every day. So let's just run through them. First and foremost is the online dating and romance scams. So this is where the scammer uses romance, dating or friendship to get trust and then ultimately your money. Second one would be investment scams. So typically a promise of big returns, but the goal is to steal your money. In fact, a common theme here, they're trying to steal your money.
They want your money.
Product and service scams. So scammers pose as buyers or sellers to steal your money. Think of a fake website or profile. Threats and extortion scams. So think about a pressured phone call you receive or a text message, someone pretending to be a department like the ATO or a debt collection agency. The next one is jobs and employment scams. So this is where the job applicants are required to pay money to make money, often through a scam offer that suggests it pays well with low effort. Unexpected money scams. So this is the classic Nigerian prince. You're told that you're entitled to a large sum of money, and you follow through the steps, but it requires you to pay some money along the way to get that entitlement. And finally, impersonation scams. So this is where scammers will impersonate trusted businesses, friends or family, and their goal there is to steal your money or personal information.
It's just rife, isn't it? Talking to that point, what's the scale of these issues in Australia, Seaton?
So according to ScamWatch, from January 2020 through to December 2024, the reported losses, and I must stress the word here, reported, the reported losses here are almost $1.8 billion. This is across almost 1.3 million reported scams. What's interesting is the top scams. What are the ones that are most lucrative for scammers? And by far and away, the most lucrative for scammers are the investment scams. So think my exposure, at least, to these types of scams are a Facebook ad where it's suggesting a certain celebrity is invested in such and such investment. It's a great way to make money, and off you come, and you've invested $100,000 into what is a scam. And these are so successful because typically the sums of money are quite large. The second most profitable scam for scammers, at least in Australia, is the romance scams. And then finally, a false billing scam.
Absolutely staggering numbers, aren't they, Seaton? How ordinary, everyday, hard-working Australians get caught up in this is amazing. I always tend to think if it's too good to be true, it probably is, but people are still seduced despite our cynicism. You've highlighted quite a number of scams. Can you give me an example of a real life one if you have one?
Yeah, I can. So we had a client circumstance a few years ago where she was contacted by Telstra to upgrade her NBN service. Speeding up the story, she ended up having some software installed on her computer. The scammer went through and set up internet banking on her savings account, which had not previously been established. And the scammer, over the course of 48 hours, had withdrawn 20 times approximately $10,000. So that's a total of $200,000 over the course of 48 hours.
a staggering amount for most people.
So she contacted the bank after the 48 hours, which is the right thing to do as soon as you suspect you've been scammed. The bank froze her account and did their attempts, whatever that is, to retrieve her money. Unfortunately, they weren't able to retrieve the money, and the bank closed that case down. Now, we didn't hear about this, and the client was, and you can appreciate this, the client was embarrassed that they had fallen for this scam, and absolutely you can appreciate that. I think that would be a natural for anybody, a human reaction.
Yeah.
She was embarrassed, and it was only 6 months later that the client had made us aware of this circumstance. Anyway, we felt like we had an obligation there to jump in on her behalf, and we did our own research into what had happened, and we represented her back to the bank, where we helped draft some letters and put that back to the bank to assist. Anyway, the long story short, we were delighted that we were able to recover that money back for the client. That was the bank who was who claimed that they were ultimately responsible for that. Now, I'm not, by no means am I suggesting this will be the case for all scams, but certainly in the specific circumstances here, the bank claimed it was their responsibility, and ultimately reimbursed our client. And you can imagine she was absolutely delighted with that.
Look, that's obviously an outstanding result, Seaton. The client got her money back and got service from her advisor beyond probably what she would have expected. So have we got any tips for how to avoid this for ourselves in the future?
Absolutely. So according to ScamWatch, which I've already introduced, first thing, verify unsolicited phone calls. Scammers are also using AI. And this is a more recent addition. For example, they can put on a professional Australian accent. So you can imagine a scammer who resides overseas and may not speak, well, certainly not speak in an Australian accent, but using AI, they're able to filter their own voice, and the AI would convert that into a professional Australian voice. And we feel like we've experienced that here at the office phone line. The next one would be to not click links or open attachments that you're not sure are safe. I think if you've got any doubts, you just you don't open. Deals that seem too good to be true, they usually are. Yeah, and I think we've
an old adage.
Correct. Take extra caution when you're pressured to act quickly or pay in an unusual or specific way. If you're feeling some heat, why? Why are they putting that pressure onto you? Keep software and devices updated. Again, a more modern issue, but keeping your phone, your laptop, your home computer, whatever it is, keep those devices up to date. Don't install software from unknown sources. Regularly review your financial statements. Perhaps you have been scammed, you're just not sure about it, and if you're not looking at your financial statements, you won't know. And the final one is to enable two-factor authentication. An absolute must these days. In your personal life, in your business, it is the best way to put some resistance up to scammers.
Great advice, Seaton. So, what would you suggest we do, or our clients do, if they think they've been scammed? What should they do?
First thing is you must notify your financial institution, your bank. Let them know, and they can put a freeze on your bank account or whatever it is they're accessing. Contact professionals for guidance in dealing with financial institutions. So if we use the example I gave earlier, our client didn't have a lot of experience in dealing with large financial institutions. Well, here at Arrow Private Wealth, we deal with large financial institutions every day on a daily basis. So we know how to deal with them and how to navigate those instances. So reach out to your financial professional. I think also it's okay to feel embarrassed. I think it's a very natural reaction, but
Very natural.
But early reporting is key. So while in the example I gave earlier, the bank was unable to retrieve those funds immediately, in many cases they are able to pull those funds back. So make sure you're reporting straight away. Reporting to AFCA if you're not happy with the bank's response, or assuming it's the bank, the bank you're dealing with. If you're not unsatisfied with their response to your issue, feel free to go and
Don't
contact
let the
AFCA.
issue go.
Correct. And final thing to do would be to report the scam on ScamWatch. It's by making the the authorities, I guess, aware of the scam helps them produce communications to the broader public and make other people aware that a certain type of scam is about, and also the things that the government could do to help shut them down if possible.
Great advice, Seaton. I hope you've found this information session useful and that you've learned something. It's something we all have to be aware of. If after listening to this you've got any questions or queries, please feel free to reach out to your financial planner. Bye for now.